This is for all our listeners out there. Please sign up for our newsletter where you can join the community, get tips from guests that come on, and we'll obviously let you know the day before the guest so you gets aired, so you get a little sneak peek. And you can follow me on Virtually Kiri on Instagram or Kiri Mohan on LinkedIn. I'm pretty sure I'm the only Kiri Mohan. So Julia, today, as a former military wife, self-taught web developer, and lover of location independence, Julia has taught over 3,000 women to say yes to any WordPress request, yes to themselves, and yes to creating life on their own terms. Mastering WordPress has not only been the single biggest driver for Julia's career progression, but it has also enabled her to follow her dreams of a truly location-independent lifestyle. From a military wife moving every 2 years with zero career progression, she has since been able to work from home, work from her RV. Yes, she was a full-time RVer for 1.5 years, and now works from anywhere. Empowering women and seeing others succeed is the biggest motivator for Julia. And so she created a program to teach others the skills that allowed her to take back control of her life and start living on her own terms. So welcome, Julia, to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm very interested in your accent, actually, because I was trying to decipher. So hear me out here, right? Through my research and everything. It seems to be a combo almost of American and Australian. I see you studied Russian, got a master's in London, and you met your husband in Afghanistan. I'm like literally reading this from here. And when I watch your videos, I'm like, what? Like I couldn't figure it out. And you maybe said this at some point and I missed it. Where's your accent from?
Sure. So I'm originally from Georgia, the state. So there's a bit of Southern in there. Y'all comes out all the time. And my husband is British and I lived in the UK for 5 years. So it's a combination of Southern and English.
Okay. My mom, little fun fact about my parents. My mom is Italian. My dad is Australian. And no one can figure out her accent because she's lived with my dad for so many years. And then she's always like, oh, it's kind of my husband's accent. And I kind of combine it. So when I heard yours on the videos, I was like, I know it's got to be one of those situations where she's like picking up someone else's accent. So your career before you started your business, you were a cybersecurity consultant, correct?
So that was kind of in the middle. Before that, I worked for the U.S. intelligence community, and that's what had me deploy to Afghanistan twice. But on my first deployment in 2008 is when I met my now husband.
Okay. So do you know anything about the company Akamai or Mimecast by chance? No?
No.
Okay. Doesn't matter. My husband has worked at those and he works in cybersecurity. So I was just like curious. I was just curious. So talk to me a little bit about then how you got this idea for your business, specifically WordPress. Because I've definitely talked to people who are, well-versed in a lot of different web pages, but you honed in on WordPress and then you specifically wanted to make this something for women too. So tell me a little bit about your progression and how you got to that place of knowing this is what you wanted to do.
Sure. So I met my husband in Afghanistan, and we did. He was military, and I was in DC, and we did long distance for a long time, and it was really, not great. So I ended up leaving my job, moved to the UK, and got married, became a military wife, which I'm immensely proud of. But my career progression really took a nosedive because we were moving all the time. So I ended up bouncing around from kind of 9-to-5 job here, 9-to-5 job there. And in one of those, and I don't have a tech background at all. The cybersecurity stuff that I did, it was kind of more admin. It wasn't really like doing cybersecurity stuff. And in one of the jobs, my boss told me to fix something on the website. And I have no idea. I didn't know how to do what he asked for, but I Googled it. Sure enough, I found a line of code and I took that, I put it in and it worked. And that was really that kind of aha magical moment for me, because I realized that I had just figured something out in 5 minutes on Google that Hollywood makes everyone believe is really difficult. And you have to have, 20 years experience and fancy degrees and all that. So I thought, well, I wonder if this is something, if I could learn more, could I turn that into a remote job that I could do from anywhere? Never did I think about starting my own business or being an entrepreneur. Like that entrepreneurial blood, that does not run in my veins. It's just something I've fallen into and I now love. So I started learning to code, and I did it for years, just kind of free resources, whatever I could find, Google and YouTube. And somewhere along the way, I was trying to figure out, do I want to go, front end, back end, full stack, all the stuff. And then I found WordPress, and in that whole kind of time, I'm applying for jobs, and no one will give me any time of day, like nothing. Probably applied for 200 plus jobs. And because I didn't have the 20 years experience and I didn't have the degree, no one would give me a chance. And it was quite discouraging. And someone said to me, well, why don't you start your own business and build websites for other businesses and focus on WordPress? And I thought, okay, I'll check it out. And I did, and come to find out, a lot of people know WordPress, but not very many know it to the extent from the coding and the development perspective, because it breaks. It gets malware. Like there's issues with it all the time. So I was able to come at WordPress from a very kind of tech development, I'm not afraid of any issues that come up perspective, which is quite rare in the WordPress world. So I was able to charge quite a lot for that. Having development kind of coding skills paired with WordPress meant I could charge a good amount per hour and per project. And it also meant that I could start my own business and work from anywhere. And then that was my focus on the WordPress bit, because, and exactly what I teach now is women who want to leave their 9-to-5, or they need to be able to work from home because, kids are being homeschooled now, or whatever the reason is for them, they need location independence. So I want to first teach women how to code so that they have that confidence when it comes to tech stuff and troubleshooting and problem solving. And it's just remarkable when you learn something that you think is hard because of society and Hollywood, like coding. And then we take that tech skill that they've learned, and then we say, okay, let's pair that with an in-demand skill that business owners need help with, and that's their website. And WordPress is used by 40-something% of all websites on the internet. So we've kind of paired those two things. And then we go into the how to market yourself, how to find clients, how to start an online business because of all the stuff that goes along with it. So that it's pretty much what I did. That took me 3+ years. I teach my students how to do that in 3 months. So that's why we kind of focus on that.
So those 3+ years that took you to learn that, was that just free resources that you found online? Did you take any courses? Did you really get into actual computer science, or was it really just like WordPress? You just started gravitating towards WordPress?
Most of that time was free resources that I could find online, because I was terrified to spend money on anything and not knowing what to expect. And I just thought that I would be able to get a remote, real job, or get a 9-to-5 job. It took me that long because it never really clicked that I could start my own business. And it was only when I found WordPress and realized how lucrative it could be with the knowledge that I had, that I kind of combined those two things. So it really was just, whatever online learning I could find. And it took me so long because I went the free route without a curriculum. I didn't have a community to be able to ask questions. So I'm kind of bumbling my way around trying to figure it out, spending 8 hours watching YouTube videos. And also a big part of it was mindset. I mean, I did not believe that anyone would pay me for this thing that I'd learned on the internet. So a lot of it was just, I don't want to tell anyone what I'm doing because what if they laugh at me, sort of thing.
Do you talk about that in your courses at all? Like how to get over that mindset?
All the time. And we actually I have my mindset coach, and I have lots of coaches. Whereas when I first got started, I was like, you have coaches, like not like get through life, but I have a lot now. And I attribute so much of my success to having people around me that are experts in other things and kind of coach me from a marketing perspective, business to mindset, and growing my team and making sure that, I've got a great team culture. I've got coaches for all that. And those coaches regularly will come into my community, and my mindset coach will come in and share. So we talk about it all the time. I'm very transparent with my community about, and I'm a raging introvert. I don't enjoy, I love doing this sort of thing because I get to talk about what we do and spread the word and have a bigger impact. But I'm going to go and lay down after this. So I talk very openly with my students about my journey and what it's been like, and the trouble, the kind of things that I struggled with and why it took me so long. And we try to give our students as many frictionless things to find their first client, work with a nonprofit, to just start doing a little bit of marketing here and there, things like that, to kind of dip their toes into the world of online business.
What do you think is the type of woman most likely to succeed in, and succeed, I mean, that means a lot of different things to people. I guess it means most likely to make a good standard of living, whatever that is for them, and also maybe have that flexibility. What are the traits you see in the women who succeed the most in your program?
A very clear why for themselves. So do they know why they are embarking on this thing to learn this new skill? And it really is so much deeper than just, I want to make more money, I want to leave my 9 to 5. And one of the very first things we do in the program is we get them to get very, very clear about their why, because and we say this, like, this is not, I'm not handing you money on a platter. You have to work at this. These are real tangible skills that you're learning. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to want to quit. You're going to struggle. This is not an easy thing that you're doing. You're learning skills. You're starting a business. You're marketing yourself. Why? What is that? What's that end thing? Is it to watch your kids grow up and not miss it because you're running around doing, okay, awesome. Well, then that's why you're going to be doing these harder things. You're going out on a limb, you're taking a risk, but you're doing it because there's something more that you want at the end. And that's what we want them to focus on. And when they have that very clear focus, and they remember what that is, it's so much easier to kind of push through the hard days and not get overwhelmed and want to quit and give up. So that's what we've found is the women who are very clear about their future, their why, and why are they doing this thing that is not the norm.
Do you have any kind of like application process? Is it open enrollment? Do you only enroll people at certain times? How do you because you would have a greater success, I'm guessing, if you make sure these people are very clear on their why. Do you have anything like that, or do you just accept anyone?
We have enrollment kind of open times. So it's not really kind of a free for all anytime. We have events throughout the year that kind of kick off when we do open enrollment. Every May we do a free live online event called Geek Week. In October, we're doing Geek Fest, and it's an opportunity for women to kind of see if they're even interested in coding and do that. Like, do they really want to start their own business? So that's it's not really an application. It's more, we want them to give it a go for free before outlaying any money. Like, we want them to know, okay, I really enjoy this. This is really good fun. And then if they do and they want to move ahead with it, then they can.
Yeah, I saw that you had the free community on Facebook. You had the free 5-day coding challenge, which you think you just talked about, and the Geekapalooza. Is that the same thing as the Geek Fest?
Yeah, kind of. We'll take any word that we can throw geek in and have an event. And they're all slightly different, the way we kind of run them and what we teach and how long they are and how much detail we go into. But we try to offer as many free resources as possible, from the blog and YouTube to all the stuff that we do on organic marketing and paid marketing. And we try, because we know that for most women, the thought of learning to code or, to be techie, that will stop them. Like that's like a barrier to entry. So how do we have as many free opportunities for women to kind of check out our community and try coding? Like, do they have that aha moment like I did way back in 2014? And if they do, then we have options for them. And if joining our program is not something they want to do or ready to do or can financially, then we give them other free resources to continue to learn and things like that. So we want to break down that initial barrier of, I'm too old to learn to code, or I'm not good at math, so I can't do this. Those are the big things, the big resistance that we get time and time again. So that's why we have so many free resources, live stuff, replay stuff, read, watch, all sorts of stuff, so that people can kind of get a taste.
It's amazing. I really admire that. That was like a note I had in here that like, wow, you give away so much for free. You really want to make sure the women who sign up for your programs know what they're getting into and know what it consists of. And so I did kind of want to talk about the WordPress Rockstar, obviously, because this is your business. It looks like you have a 3-month path, which is almost like more accelerated, versus a 6-month path. Which one is signed up for more, do you think?
So the actual roadmaps, people, when women join WP Rockstar, they get unlimited access to the entire curriculum, and they get to decide, do I do it in 3 months? Do I do it in 6 months? Or do I do it in 1 month? Or do I do it in 12 months? Like the roadmap that they choose is entirely up to them. But the reason that we have those two particular paths for 3 months and 6 months is because we've been running WP Rockstar for 4 years now, and our past students have said, could we please have a roadmap? And they explicitly said 3 months and 6 months. So we said, yes, of course. So we recently did a complete overhaul of WP Rockstar, because there's a lot of changes happening with WordPress, and we will always stay up to date on what's happening there. And all the feedback we've had from our students over the last 4 years, how can we make the program better? And we've put all of that into place with the new curriculum. And part of that was the roadmap option.
How often do you ask for feedback from students?
Let's see. We are, that's a really good question. We are going to, I don't think we've implemented it yet, but we just launched this new curriculum in May, but we are going to be adding in almost like mini surveys at the end of the modules within the curriculum to get kind of immediate feedback and be able to make adjustments as and when we need to. Now, when someone joins WP Rockstar, they get 6 months in our private community, which is the Geek Pack community. And that's probably where we get the majority of our feedback, where someone will say, oh, I'm not so sure about this, or this is a little bit confusing, or where's the link to this? And as soon as we get feedback, whether it's in the inbox or in the community, we'll take that and we'll act on it, so long as it's something that we can kind of fix quickly, or maybe there was an update, because WordPress updates all the time. Then we're constantly making adjustments as we're made aware of them. On small levels, but then when it comes to bigger stuff, that's where we get the feedback within the actual curriculum.
That's great. I wish more people remember to ask for feedback. I mean, it's so important, but I think, and I think for our listeners, that's really what differentiates, or a common theme I've seen in when I interview people like you who have a community-based businesses, that they're constantly asking for feedback, and they try to make sure that the barrier for like, not entry, but like kind of that barrier that might create like a hiccup or a stumbling block is as low as possible. And they do that by constantly asking for feedback. So I know, looking at your pricing, I'm going to try to explain this as best I can to our listeners. It looks like phase 1, you priced at $2,997, same as phase 2 and same as phase 3. But what you ended up doing is saying with you, it's actually going to cost $997 for phase 1, 2, 3. What is okay? Walk me through this. Can you do phase 1 by itself, phase 2 by itself, or is it phase 1 goes to phase 2 goes to phase 3? So you're paying $997 for all 3.
Sure. Yeah. So the way that we have done the pricing is we've got 2 tiers for WP Rockstar. So tier 1 is all of the course curriculum, all of the content, plus 6 months in the private Facebook group, which is kind of tech support with a heart. Any questions that come up, you can, ask those questions in there. And WP Rockstar is made up of 3 phases. The first phase is all things kind of tech, like start at the very, very beginning with coding and then intro to WordPress. And at the end of phase 1, they build their first or next WordPress website. And we've partnered with a big WordPress company, and they've gifted my students huge discounts on things like WordPress hosting and on free premium themes that normally cost a lot of money. So I've got great partnerships in the WordPress community. So at the end of phase 1, they submit the first website that they build using one of these premium themes with lots of kind of customization from the coding perspective. And at the end of that, they get a Geek Pack t-shirt, some swag. So we incentivize them to kind of move through the curriculum with swag and prizes and things like that. Phase 2 is all things marketing, pricing, packaging, systems and processes, working with clients, promoting yourself, social media, paid marketing, all things just getting out there and delivering the product, finding clients. And at the end of phase 2, there's another thing that they will submit, and then they get another bit of swag. And then phase 3 is all things WordPress. And it's literally like starting at the very beginning, going quite in depth into the future of WordPress and where WordPress is going, moving forward with full site editing. And we go into a lot of detail and hosting and domains and migrations and malware and all the things that make most business owners want to pull their hair out. We cover all that. So the way that the curriculum works, I actually hired a professional curriculum developer to build the flow of the curriculum to make sure it was the most appropriate for adult learners. And that's the way that we've built it out. Now, people can jump around. You don't have to do, wherever you want to jump around. It is all, you can't buy just one. It does kind of come as a package. So you can absolutely jump around depending on where you are with your business and what you want to learn. But we have built it in a way that makes the most sense for someone who is just starting and wants to kind of learn the basics, get into the marketing stuff, get into the WordPress, and we kind of go through in that order. And that's tier 1 of WP Rockstar. And as you said, that's $997. We have a 6-month payment plan as well.
And how did you figure out pricing though? Because you've discounted it. And then there's also $14.97 if they want to have the coaching, the co-working sessions, private Slack, and so much more. For those of our audience who are trying to build a community and try to sell courses, how did you figure out that pricing and how much to discount it to, right?
Yeah. So I'm in a mastermind of other online business owners, a lot of whom are course creators, and my primary kind of marketing coach it is a course creator through and through. So I have always asked a lot of advice and honestly, just trying things. And when I first launched WP Rockstar in October of 2018, it was $97. So I started and that was, I had no audience. I probably had, maybe 200 people on my email list. And I was doing everything, on Instagram. That's how I was kind of doing it back then, and it worked really well. And then the next time that was that was a first time get in at the lowest price ever. And then a few months later, I think I took it up to $197, and then not long after that, up to $297, and then for about 3 years, it was at the $497 price point. And then throughout all that time, we're getting feedback from students. We're hearing what more they want. And the old WP Rockstar, the old curriculum, didn't have the marketing piece, the systems and processes, the finding clients. That whole section wasn't
that
really
like business section almost.
Exactly. Yeah, that wasn't there. So when we came to deciding, okay, we need to revamp all the skills side of it, because times change and WordPress changes, and we want to keep our students up to date as much as possible. We thought, okay, people are asking for the business side. How do you set up a business? Do you need an LLC? Are you a sole proprietor? Do you need an EIN? What do you do about taxes and bookkeeping and like all the things that stop a lot of people from starting a business? And we've gone kind of step by step with all of that, finding clients piece, the onboarding of a new client, and the offboarding, and getting testimonials, and getting referrals, and building the website and getting content. Like literally everything is in there. And when we revamped it, with time and inflation, and I have a good sized team, it was just a matter of, okay, we're going to add way more value than the old program, so we're going to raise the price. And that's kind of what we came to, and looked at other similar products and in the industry, and what we were offering for that, which is kind of a business in a box with tangible tech skills to go along with it. That's where we settled on that $997 price point. And then a lot of our students said, I wish we had kind of additional support in things like mindset and sales and SEO. And really, like, proposals and templates, the systems and processes that go along with running a business, and extra tech help. So that's exactly where the coaching program came in. And we just added that as a second tier for people who are really ready to kind of, take their business to the next level with that extra support.
That's amazing. And, for the audience listening, with this pricing and how she figured it out, Julia was able to grow over 1 million since you started your business in 2018. So within 4 years, really, which is
we're now.
That's crazy. That's so good. Congratulations. So you keep talking about we, right? We, so you must have a team. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have employees or contractors, or both?
Both.
Okay. So that's a hard decision for a business owner. And I feel like a lot of people in the service-based businesses start out with contractors because that's what they are. That's what they know. But eventually you need to move to an employee. So how did you, I guess, what did you start with? Did you jump straight into having employees, or did you have contractors first and then grow to employees? And talk to me about that decision process.
Sure. It was contractors first, for sure. And that, let's see, from October of 18, it wasn't until 2021 when I had employees. And that's when I became an employee of my business. And right now there's one other employee of my business. Now, that being said, most of my team are international. So making them an employee isn't really an option. Mm-hmm. We have 2 women in the UK. We've got Australia, Brazil, and here in the US. And that's kind of our the team presence. So if everyone was in the US, I would have more employees, but they're not. So it's more of a foreign contractor kind of basis.
And who was your first hire?
Actually, my stepdaughter was my first, and she's in the UK. And she's been with me since before WP Rockstar. So probably kind of 2017. She's been on my team, and she runs the business. I say we because there's no way I could have the business that I have, the lifestyle that I have, the team, the community without my team. And they are amazing, and they're everything. And I spend most of my time making sure that they're taken care of, because our community is very big. We have a good size audience. I cannot kind of show as much love to my community as I would like. So instead I pour into my team, so then they are able to kind of show love and pour into the community. So yeah, they're amazing.
It's another common theme I hear is invest in the team, invest in your team, because they are so important to making sure you have your lifestyle, that you have a good business. So what are some mistakes you think you've made as you've grown, as you've hired, and as you've changed your products?
Oh gosh, plenty. I guess I always struggle with this because I try things, and if they don't work, then we kind of shift and change, and we learn from everything. So if something didn't work, it's kind of, okay, well, why did that not work, and how can we, learn from it and do better next time? And I have been in the past, I've heard an idea. So as I said, I'm in this mastermind group with other online business owners, and they'll say, oh, I did this and it worked, or I did that and it worked. And I previously would kind of jump in and say, oh, we need to do that because it worked for them. So let's do that. And the focus would be there, and we would do it. And sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't, but I would kind of jump from new idea to new idea. And I've been pretty good about focusing solely on one signature product on WP Rockstar. So that has helped, but like how we market it and how we promote it, and do you build your audience? Are you on Instagram? Are you on stories? Are you on TikTok? Like constantly jumping to all these different places. So recently I've been a lot better about not immediately kind of going for the new shiny thing. And we actually have something called an ideas list. So if I or anyone else on the team has an idea, it goes on the ideas list, and then it just kind of marinates, and it just sits, and we kind of let it drive us if it's still a good idea weeks later. Another thing that was really helpful is probably about a year and a half ago, I invested in a CEO training, to really try and step into that role and not do so much of the doing, because I had the team to do that. And one of the first things that we did, which literally was the most important thing I've ever done in the business, was very carefully craft a mission statement, a vision, and figure out our core values. And we spent weeks on those things. And right now, as the CEO, every decision I make, I run it through, is that getting us closer to our vision? Because our vision is very clear. And if I'm doing something that is not getting me closer to that vision, not getting the business, then I shouldn't be doing it. Or should we be doing it at all? So that was a really kind of taking all the lessons learned that we've had over the years, is having a very specific vision. Okay, well, that is what we're going for collectively. And a lot of it is me, things like this, being on podcasts. I said before, I'm an introvert, but if me being outside my comfort zone and being uncomfortable for an hour means that we reach more women, which is part of our vision, fine, I will be uncomfortable. So I run everything through that, that vision check.
Can you tell us what your mission statement, vision, and core values are?
Gosh, I can tell you. So our vision is, it's all on our website. If you do want to check it out, we have the navigation that says mission. But our vision is 5 years from now, we will be serving over 100,000 women and helping them learn tech skills, learn to code, work on their own, whatever that tech skill might be. That's our vision. Our mission is we empower women to learn tech skills through coding in a community, all while building their confidence, because that's such a big part of it. It's not just learn the skills, it's learn the skills in a community, build that confidence, and then know that you can go on and do the thing that you want to do. Core values, I would have to go back and look at, because they're a little bit longer and I don't remember those as well.
That's okay. That's okay. I saw that you're definitely counting, which I love, because when I was looking and doing research, it said you had empowered over 50,000 women and girls, which is so amazing. And totally aligns with the mission of this podcast too, to empower women and spotlight women. So I know you do something for kids too, right? Though I saw that you do something for children, and is that boys and girls, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a kids code camp. We actually
Yeah.
ran it right when COVID kicked off, March of 2020, and that's something that was a passion project of mine. And when COVID happened, it was like, okay, now I think is a good time to create something for kids. And so we're really pleased with the kids code camp.
Was COVID good for your business? Because people were starting to realize like, oh, I can work from home. I can do this from home. Yeah.
It was. Yeah. Like the business, we had stuff running in the background from October of 18, but it was May of 2020 when we had our first ever Geek Week. And that just skyrocketed the business, and it really took off because we already had the community. We already had the student success stories. We had the skills program. We had WP Rockstar. And when that came around, it was right at the time when people were saying, women were at home and they didn't want to go back to the office, and they wanted to change, and they needed to be able to work from home because their kids were at home, and it just fit into exactly what was happening already. But we already had that infrastructure in place from the year and a half prior.
Do you think if COVID had not happened, your business would have grown as quickly?
Probably not as quickly. I don't think we would have had that huge kind of jump in 2020. And since then, we still grow every year, but it's nowhere near what it was. I mean, it was hundreds of a percent when we went from 19 to 20. And so I think we would have still gotten to where we wanted to be, but it just would have taken longer.
Were you totally overwhelmed when that first Geek Week happened, and then all of a sudden all these people are signing up and wanting your WB Rockstar? Were you just like, oh my God, what is happening?
Yeah, I'll never forget the night when we had it was a 4-day event, and on the Thursdays when I kind of like presented WP Rockstar, we had 4 days of free events, and I was teaching the whole time. And then we got to the end, and I kind of opened the doors, and I remember telling the woman at the time who was helping me run the launch. She said, well, how many people do you want to join? And this was when it was 497. And I said, well, if we could get 50 people, that would be amazing. So that was like my big goal. And we finished that night with like 160 within an hour. And then,
oh my gosh.
A few days later, I think it was 330 something. So I knew that night, I was like, okay, we need to bring in some help. And that was May. We made it through June somehow, 2 of us on the team. And then in July, we brought on 2 team members. And then a couple of months later, another. So that was the first thing, was we need help, and we need to bring some folks in and make sure. And fortunately, we'd been running it for long enough to where we had all the kinks and the system, and people they could buy, and they would get their welcome email, and they could log in, and so we had minimal customer support issues with an influx like that, because we'd been doing it for a while. So it was incredibly overwhelming, and I think it really opened my eyes to kind of go, oh wow, like this is a real thing that people want and are excited about. And what it enabled me to dream a bit bigger than I ever thought I could.
When we talk about this coding stuff, I did take a intro computer science class in college, and I'm so glad I did. It wasn't for me only because, like you said, there's a certain kind of person who just really gets excited about it. And I did like it because I am very detail oriented. But when you miss like one backslash and something doesn't work and it's just driving you crazy, I just remember spending hours on this one simple, I don't know, it was like Java or something. Yeah. And then I went to like the, computer science open hours or whatever. And the person's like looking at my webpage. Oh yeah, you just missed a backslash here. I'm like, I seriously looked at this for 3 hours. I did not see that backslash. And I was so frustrated. But you know what? I have WordPress for a lot of my web pages, and I've worked on them for client stuff. And there's such a feeling of confidence. It's a perfect word. When your client is trying to figure something out and they can't, and you have the knowledge to go in to the coding section and change it and make sure it's formatted correctly, whatever it is. And it's so true. You're just like, I know how to do this. And like to hear them say, oh my gosh, how did you do that? And it was actually really easy. You just needed to add a backslash or whatever, right? So when you reach this $1 million with the business, did you even notice? Did it fly by you? Was this always a goal of yours? Tell me a little bit about that, because I know you're talking about mindset too. So I'm interested in your mindset as your business grew.
I guess it was always one of those like, oh, it sounds so cool and that'll never happen. And it just seemed like such a big number. And no, I didn't even realize when it did. And it's a little bit of a shame, because you have this kind of thing like, oh, I'm going to hit 1 million and doves are going to fly and, angels are going to say, you kind of think it's going to be this amazing thing. And as you get close to it and then you hit it, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, but now there's another milestone, or, oh, that's not so exciting because, there's so many other things that need to be done. So it's, I try a lot harder to kind of recognize what I do, but also the team, and where the business is going for all of us, and recognize those milestones and celebrate them, because I didn't, at first, and I want to do more of that.
That is also something else I hear a lot: celebrate milestones, especially as your business grows. Yeah. Have you ever had any months, or even a year where you've been in the red?
Months, yes. Year, no.
How do you handle that when you have that month where you're in the negatives?
At first, completely freaked out. However, I brought someone on who is kind of a fractional CFO, and she knows my business, and we have about 3 big launches a year. And that's where the majority of our overall revenue comes from. So she was able to kind of say, okay, so you're going to have you're going to have an influx in May. Great. So once everything, once we got the ad spend and the team costs and all the other expenses, what's left is how do we make sure that is enough to last until the next launch? And then once I realized, oh, I can do that, and then it will all even out, then I was fine. So I'd say, let's see, 3, I'd say on average, we probably have 3 to 4 months in the red a year. When we just, like right now, it's July, it's slow for everybody. So we just know that it's probably going to be slow, and there's no reason to push and try and launch something because it's summer and people are out and about. So knowing that, and she also, my fractional CFO, she really kind of made it very important that I have a business savings account that can amount to at least 3 months of keep the lights on money. So I know that that's there, and that's to cover all my team for really more than 3 months. But advertising costs, excuse me, that's between my team and advertising costs. Those are the biggest things that we have. So if worse came to worse, then advertising costs would stop, but I could continue to pay the team for at least 3 months, if not longer. So I know that I've got that buffer, and we've got a healthy email list size. We've got a good presence on organic social media, on the paid side, SEO, YouTube, so that we know that we have an audience that we can reach in more ways than just paying Facebook ads to kind of crank out money.
Yes. I do want to talk to you about your marketing, because I love your marketing on Instagram. I loved when you had this robe. For our listeners, there was like a spurt. I haven't seen you do it lately, but there was a spurt where Julia was wearing her nice fluffy blue robe with stars and would just do a bunch of reels just like that with it was just so cool. And we got to see your house, and it was it was fun. It just gave us something. And I loved looking at your stories. And, there used to be this marketing advice that was like, you should do 80% sharing of other people's work and something useful, industry facts, 20% promotion. And I noticed you don't really do that. You really go all into promotion, and like, you guys are going to love WP Rockstar. You guys should join this. How much time do you spend on marketing, do you think, during however you want to quantify that, either a week or a month?
Me personally or the team?
Let's have both.
Okay. Me personally, very little. I have a social media and content manager. So the blog, YouTube, all social media channels is handled. There's a lot of like past content that can be kind of repurposed. The robe that you're referencing, that was actually from TikTok. And I did a full blown kind of TikTok experiment, which, I'm happy to share the results that came from that. But I started with TikTok, and I thought I'm going to give it a go and see how it works out. And I did one video in my robe, and it kind of took off, and I was like, okay, I'll try doing it some more. So, in my robe with no makeup on, wandering around my house, those seem to be the ones that do the best. And so we would repurpose the TikTok videos as reels, and I will get back to doing those, because I now have hard data that we are getting a 3 times return on effort and on ad spend. So I do know that those, because we weren't sure at first, because it's a lot of effort to do those. So for me personally, I focus my time on certain things where I always feel so uncomfortable saying this, but where like my face is needed, and that's YouTube. We're doing I'm actually in a YouTube boot camp right now, and really trying to level up that. YouTube and TikTok is really going to be where, from a marketing perspective, where I will spend the majority of my time to get the most bang for our buck there, and the most bang for my time, because the other things I need to be doing is building the business and building relationships and being on podcasts and going to events and things like that. So for me, I focus my time where me personally I need to be. Whereas from an overall marketing perspective, it's taken us years to have such a healthy kind of ecosystem from a marketing perspective, from like every platform. We're not everywhere, but we're in all the places where our avatar is. From an organic perspective, to search, to relationship building, to paid advertising as well.
So if you got most of your audience organically, and I'm not even like talking about paid ads, I'm just saying I'm assuming you didn't pay for a bunch of followers. So if you got most of your audience organically, how long did it take to grow to a point where like you were seeing conversions on, your products?
Sure. So I do both. We don't pay for followers like on Instagram. That has been, we do pay for people to opt into something so we can get them on our email list. So that's the gold standard for us. Is I could care less how many followers I have anywhere. That is not a metric that interests me. I want them to get on my email list, because that I own. I mean, Instagram could go down tomorrow and I could lose all those folks. So the biggest thing for us is how do we add so much value and make people want to, be a part of our ecosystem, that they sign up to our email list, because there we then nurture and send regular emails about the free events that we have going on, just random value stories, letting them know about a new YouTube video. And that is the audience that we own, is that email list. And then converting them from there is what we try to do, also using paid advertising. So we try to use all the different marketing levers that we can, but we do have a very large marketing budget from an ads perspective, because most of the people who join our email list is from paid traffic. However, we do still get a good amount of organic, but it's nowhere near as many as from paid.
Okay. So I want to kind of go back to this marketing, the TikTok videos and stuff like that. How did your social media manager or content manager tell you what to do, or did you just look around and say like, okay, I see TikTok's kind of doing that, so I guess I'll do this? And how much time did you spend on those? Like 3 hours, just got them all out?
So no, I did it all. And that's another thing. If I'm going to go kind of all in on a platform, then I want to understand that platform, and I want to make sure that, like, if I'm going to be on TikTok, it has to be me, at least for now.
Right.
And I want it to be something that I'm proud of, that I've taken time to kind of put out and spend time on. And so it was me, and also my team member. She travels, who does all my social media, and we tried her posting, and it wasn't working as well. And so me posting the videos.
Wait, you tried her posting like videos without you, or on your account?
Correct. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah, we tried that, and that didn't really work very well. But we do TikTok ads, which we've seen good results from, not just people joining our email list, but converting and purchasing. That's that kind of 3x ROAS that I mentioned before. So we track everything to make sure that where we're putting our best effort, we're getting the most bang for our buck.
So I want to wrap this up a little bit and talk about you specifically as a businesswoman. Have you faced any pushback or hurdles as a woman in business?
The only pushback that I've had has been self-induced, because of the circles that I kind of run in. The mastermind that I'm in is run by a female business owner. Most of the people in that mastermind are women entrepreneurs, and so I am starting to branch out into other and I'm comfortable there. Like I know that I won't come up against those hurdles. I am starting to branch out and kind of test out other places. I joined a local accelerator program in my city to kind of see what that's all about, and VC funding. I'm learning about all of this sort of stuff, and I was really afraid that I was going to get that sort of pushback, and it's been the opposite. Come to find out, people love a female owned and run tech business, and I get a lot of support from the local community and what I'm doing. So it's actually helped branching out, and it is stories that I tell myself in my head that have ever been the limiting factor. I mean, will I come up against it? Potentially, probably at some point, but I've surrounded myself with enough people to know that and I've had enough mindset coaching to know that if I do get that pushback, that it's not me, and I have enough people around me that believe in what I'm doing, and I can always say, hey, so-and-so said this. Is that something I should be thinking about or concerned about? And so I'm constantly getting feedback and surrounding myself with people that know a whole heck of a lot more than I do to move the business forward.
What advice do you have for other women who are trying to grow their business, maybe a business like yours, or maybe just trying to get more money in their business? What advice do you have for them?
The sooner you can grow a team, the better. And one of the things to know about being my business, I don't have like amazing profit margins. Everyone on my team gets paid. I get paid. I'm on salary. I'm an employee. Everyone else on my team, I just gave a handful of employees raises. I give my team bonuses regularly. I make sure they have as much time off as they need. So they're very well taken care of. But, at a profit margin, it's not amazing. It's not something I would, take screenshots and show off. I wouldn't do that anyway, because I, kind of think that's tacky, but my personal life, my lifestyle choices, the role that I'm doing, I love. And I love my team and the community that we're building. And I know that long-term, that will all, the profit margin will just get better. But investing in my team, in having team members to make my life easier, and excuse me, investing in advertising, because my word, I mean, you said at the very beginning that my marketing's great. I'm all over on social media. I do very little of that. Because I have a team and because I've put money behind it. I would rather have my time and my privacy. I'm very private. I don't like stories because I don't really like to have to talk about my personal life. So, the way I get around that is I put money to it, and the business still grows and it works. So the sooner, like if you're a business owner and you're wanting to grow, you're wanting to scale, or you're wanting to get started, if people say to you, you got to have, a really great profit margin. Okay, well, at what expense? At whose expense? Yours, your personal life and your work-life balance? Well, personally, it's not worth it to me. And what is that? What works for you? What's your balance? And if you have team members who can lighten the load so you can do the things that you actually enjoy that will move the needle, then long term it will work out. So I'm a big fan in investing in team and in advertising.
No, I feel so grateful and honored that you're doing this podcast, because you're like,
Yeah.
I'm so private. I'm an introvert. I don't like podcasts. No, you didn't say that, but I feel very blessed and honored that you're on this. Thank you so much. So share a little bit about where we can find you, and we'll put it in the show notes as well.
The easiest place is geekpack.com. That's where everything is. My social media links are on there. All of our free resources are on there. That's easily the quickest and best place to kind of find everything. On most of all social profiles, I'm Julia the Geek. On TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook. So that's another easy way to find me on social media.
Great. What is one philosophy, mantra, or quote that you try to run your business by?
I love this question, and it's probably going to be a little bit different. But it was actually a TikTok video that I saw and I redid, and the quote was, "There are two people in your life that you should try to impress: the 8-year-old version of yourself and the 88-year-old version of yourself."
Ooh.
And that's how I try to not only personally run, the business for myself, but just for the business in general. Is the decisions that I'm making today, is my 88-year-old version of myself going to be proud of me?
Oh, I've never heard that one. And I've done quite a few interviews, and I like that one a lot. That's really good. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for sharing everything with us and everything you're doing for women in the tech space and the coding space, and giving people confidence and helping women realize that they don't need to be chained to a 9-to-5. They can have the life of their dreams, which is something I always advocate for as well. So again, thank you so much for being on this. I know that you're going to go take a nap. So again, I really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. It's been an absolute honor. And I love getting to do these things because it is getting me closer to our vision. So, yes, does it exhaust me? Absolutely. But that's okay, because this is what I need to be doing as the CEO to move the needle forward for the business. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.